Good day, math learners! Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's me again, Sir John Lipanada, and for today's episode, I am going to teach you on one of the most integral competencies in Mathematics 10, which is all about polynomial functions. Our objectives are: number 1, you will illustrate polynomial functions. Next one is identify whether a given expression is a polynomial or not. And last one is you will be able to solve problems involving polynomial functions. So since we are talking about polynomial functions, let us first define what is polynomial. So a polynomial is a kind of algebraic expression where each term is constant, a variable, or a product of a constant and variable in which the variable has a non-negative number exponent. So, in short, when we talk about polynomial, it can be a constant, it can be a variable, or just a combination of constant and variables, wherein the involved variables has a non-negative number exponent. So, sa Tagalog, kapag sinabi natin na polynomial, ito ay pwedeng maging constant, pwede siyang variable, o kaya naman ay pinagsamang constant at variable kung saan yung mga involved variables natin dun sa expression has a non-negative number exponent. Ibig sabihin, ang kanyang mga exponent ay, pag sinabing non-negative, ibig sabihin, ang kanyang mga exponent ay positive. Dapat walang negative na exponent. So, an algebraic expression is not polynomial if. So, yung daw isang algebraic expression ay masasabi natin na hindi polynomial kapag lumabas itong mga conditions na ito. Number 1, the exponent is negative. Again, masasabi natin na hindi polynomial ang isang expression kapag ang exponent daw niya is negative. Another one, the exponent of the variable is not a whole number. Again, we can say that an algebraic expression is not a polynomial if the exponent of the variable is not a whole number. So, kung wala siya sa whole number, hindi whole number yung exponent niya, so, that will be considered as not polynomial function. Another one, so the variable is inside the radical sign. So later on, we will give some examples of not polynomial functions wherein there is a case that the variable is inside the radical sign. So another condition is that the variable is in the denominator. So masasabi daw natin na yung isang algebraic expression is not a polynomial kapag yung variable ay nasa denominator. So, okay lang na yung variable ay nasa numerator, we can still consider that as polynomial. But, kapag yung denominator natin is variable na, so that is not a polynomial function. So, for you to have a clear understanding about polynomial functions, so I have here some examples of polynomial functions and not polynomial functions. So, example number 1, we have f of x equals 4x squared plus 2x minus 3. So, this function is an example of polynomial 1. So, this function will not be considered as not polynomial if we have this 1. f of x equals 4x raised to negative 2 plus 2x minus 3. So, this function is not a polynomial because the exponent is negative. Again, f of x equals 4x raised to negative 2 plus 2x minus 3 is not a polynomial function since its exponent is negative, which is negative 2. Another one we have f of x equals 3 over 5 x squared minus 5x plus 10. So this is an example of polynomial function. Not polynomial, we have f of x equals x raised to 3 over 5 minus 5x plus 10. So kung papansin natin dun sa polynomial function natin, ang coefficient natin dito is 3 over 5. And dun sa kabila, yung coefficient natin naging exponent. So paano natin nasabi na si f of x equals x raised to 3 over 5 minus 5x plus 10 is not a polynomial? It's because the exponent of the variable is not a whole number. So sabi natin kanina, ang isang function ay hindi natin masasabi na polynomial kapag yung kanyang exponent ay hindi whole number. And as you can see, in this example, x raised to 3 over 5. So yung exponent natin is nasa fraction form, which is 3 over 5. Kaya, itong example natin na ito is not a polynomial. So dapat ang exponent natin para maging polynomial function siya is always a whole number. Another one we have f of x equals negative 2x cubed plus x squared minus 7x minus 1. So this is an example of polynomial function. And on the other side, f of x equals negative 2x cubed plus x squared minus 7 square root of x minus 1. So, what do you think is the reason why this function is considered as not polynomial 1? It's because the variable is inside the radical sign. So, hindi ito example ng polynomial because yung variable daw natin is nasa loob ng radical sign. So, ang radical sign natin, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, ito yung symbol natin ng radical sign. And yung variable natin nasa loob, that is why f of x equals negative 2x cubed plus x squared minus 7 square root of x minus 1 is not a polynomial function. Another set of examples we have y. So again, f of x can also be written as y, as just y. So y equals 5x squared minus 8x minus 10 is an example of polynomial function. While on the other side, we have y equals 5x squared minus 8 over x minus 10. So, the reason why this function is not an example of polynomial function is because the variable is in the denominator. So, kung papansinin natin yung function natin, yung variable na x ay nasa denominator. So, that is why y equals 5x squared minus 8 over x minus 10 is not a polynomial function. So, itong function na ito, magiging polynomial lamang siya kung mababaliktad natin itong ating fraction. So, kung ito ay ating i-reciprocate, kung si x ay nasa numerator at si 8 ay nasa denominator. So, kung naging minus x over 8 ito, so this function will be considered as polynomial. So, since yung function natin dito is nasa denominator is x, so this is not a polynomial function. So, a polynomial function is a function defined by this one. F of x equals a sub n x raised to n plus a sub n minus 1 x raised to n minus 1 plus a sub n minus 2 x raised to n minus 2 plus and the like plus a sub 2 x squared plus a sub 1 x plus a sub 0. So, from this representation, a sub n a sub n minus 1, a sub n minus 2, a sub 2, a sub 1, and a sub 0 are the what we call coefficients. Again, a sub n minus 1, a sub n minus 2, a sub 2, a sub 1, and a sub 0 are the what we call coefficients. And another one, a sub n x raised to n is the what we call leading term. So take note that when we say leading term, it is the term having the highest exponent. Again, when we say leading term, it is the term having the highest exponent. If we have leading term, we also have the what we call leading coefficient. So saan naman natin makukuha si leading coefficient? So we can get the leading coefficient from our leading term. So ibig sabihin, dito natin kukunin si leading coefficient natin. Kapag given na ang leading term natin, makukuha na agad natin yung leading coefficient natin by just looking at this one. And our leading coefficient is a sub n. So last one, we also have the what we call constant term. And from this representation, our constant term is a sub 0. So when we say constant term, it is the number having no variable, just the constant number. A constant term is just the constant number of the given function. So I have a table here. On the first column, we have the sets of polynomials. On the second column, it's leading term. Third column, we have the leading coefficient. And on the last column, we have the constant term. I will give a set of polynomials here. And what we are going to do is to identify the leading term of this function, the leading coefficient, and its constant term. So example number 1, given the function f of x equals 2x raised to 4 minus x cubed plus 5x plus 6. So what we are going to do again is to find its leading term, its leading coefficient, and its constant term. And for this function, our leading term, again, is the term having the highest exponent. And from this function, our leading term will be 2x raised to 4, since it is the term that has the highest exponent. So as you can see, the first term has the exponent 4, the second term has the exponent 3, the third term has the exponent 1, and the last term has the exponent of 0. So 4 is the highest exponent. That is why 2x raised to 4 is our leading term. So how about our leading coefficient? Again, just like what I have said earlier, our leading coefficient will always be based on our leading term. So if we already have our leading term, then we can easily identify its leading coefficient by getting the coefficient of this leading term. And the coefficient of our leading term is 2. So again, saan ulit natin nakuha si leading coefficient? Dun sa coefficient ng ating leading term. And lastly, our constant term. Again, when we say constant term, it is the constant number having no variable. And from this function, the constant number, the only constant number, or the only number which has no variable is 6. So let us have another example. So given the function f of x equals 8x squared, our leading term here is 8x squared. Our leading coefficient is 8. And our constant term is 0, since we have no constant term here. given y equals negative 3 plus 7x squared minus 5x. So, kahit yung ating function, tandaan natin na yung kahit yung given function natin is not already in standard form, we can still identify its leading term, its leading coefficient, and its constant term. So, given this function, our leading term again is the term having the highest exponent, and that is 7x squared. Leading coefficient is 7, and constant term is negative 3. So last example we have y equals 4x squared minus x squared plus 8 plus 3. So the leading coefficient here is 3x squared. So sir, bakit po naging 3x squared? Ay given itong function natin na ito, saan po nanggaling si 3x squared? So as you can see, given example, we have 4x squared minus x squared plus 8 plus 3. So we have two sets of similar terms. We have two quadratic terms, and we also have two constant terms. So what are we going to do kapag nakakita tayo ng similar terms is to simplify them first. And 4x squared minus x squared, may invisible coefficient lagi na 1 dito, and 4 minus 1 is 3. And just copy the literal coefficient x squared. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng leading term na 3x squared. So, ang leading coefficient natin dito, based again sa leading term natin, is positive 3. And the constant term natin, since sila ay similar term, we have two constant terms, i-simplify din muna natin. And 8 plus 3 is just 11. So, before we proceed to our next subtopic, let us have a short recall regarding your prior knowledge about this one. So, given the function f of x equals x raised to 5 minus 8x raised to 4 plus 9x cubed minus x squared plus 7x plus 6. So, x raised to 5 again is the what we call quintic term. So, when we say quintic term, if you still remember, quintic term is the term having an exponent 5. Another one, negative 8x raised to 4 is the what we call quartic term. So when we say quartic term again, it is a term which has an exponent of 4. Another one, 9x cubed is our cubic term. So when we say cubic term, it is a term which has an exponent of 3. Another one is negative x squared is our quadratic term. And when we say quadratic term, it is a term which has an exponent of 2. And the next one is our linear term, which is 7x. And when we say linear term, it is a term which has an exponent 1. And last one, we also have our constant term. So when we say constant term, it is the term which has an exponent of 0. So, saan natin makikita yung 0 natin dito? Bakit po naging 0 yung exponent ng constant term natin? Is because yung constant term natin, lagi siyang may literal coefficient na x raised to 0. Hindi na lang natin siya nilalagay o hindi na siya pinapakita dahil x raised to 0 is just equal to 1. And if we are going to multiply a constant by 1, the product is still the constant term, which is yung x. And in this case, 6 times 1 will just give us 6. Tandaan natin na laging may literal coefficient dito na x raised to 0. So, hindi na lang natin siya kailangang ilagay o ipakita. So, let us now discuss what is standard form. So, when can we say that a polynomial function is in standard form? Polynomial is in standard form when the terms of the polynomial are written in decreasing orders. So, ibig sabihin, masasabi daw natin na nasa standard form na yung isang polynomial function kapag yung mga terms natin ay naka-arrange in decreasing powers. So, ibig sabihin, decreasing pababa. Decreasing powers, powers or exponent. Mula sa may pinakamataas na exponent, pababa hanggang sa may pinakamaliit na exponent. So, kanina yung given function natin kanina which is f of x equals x raised to 5 minus 8x raised to 4 plus 9x cubed minus x squared plus 7x plus 6 is an example of polynomial which is already in standard form because it is arranged or written in decreasing powers mula sa may pinakamataas na exponent hanggang sa may pinakamababang exponent. So we have our quintic term, our quartic term, cubic term, quadratic term, linear term, and constant term. So I have here some examples of polynomial which are written in standard form, and on the other side, polynomials which are not written in standard form. So, example for standard form, we have f of x equals 2x cubed minus x squared plus 5x plus 6. So, ito ay example ng polynomial na nasa standard form because naka-arrange siya in decreasing power. So, exponent of 3, 2, 1, and 0. And another one is f of x equals 5x raised to 4 plus 4x cubed minus 7x plus 3. So, ito ay nasa standard form din because naka-arrange siya mula sa may pinakamataas na exponent. We have 4, 3, 1, and 0. And last one, we have f of x equals 4x squared minus 3x plus 8. Exponent of 2, 1, and 0. And on the other side naman, let us have some examples of polynomials which are not written in standard form. So we have f of x equals negative 3 plus 7x squared minus 5x. So ito ay wala sa standard form because as you can see, the terms are not written in decreasing power. So we have 0. Exponent ng negative 3 is 0. 7x squared is 2. And 5x is 1. So nauna si constant term, sunod si quadratic, then at saka lamang si linear term. So another example, we have f of x equals negative 3x raised to 5 minus 3 plus x squared. So as you can see, our first term is a quintic term. Then next na agad si constant term at saka lamang si quadratic term. So that is why this is not in standard form. Another one, we have f of x equals negative 4 plus 2x plus x cubed. So as you can see, nabaliktad. Dapat itong x cubed nasa first term. Then ito si linear term as is pa rin, nandito siya sa second term, and si constant term dapat nandun siya sa last term. So now, let me show you some examples on how to write a polynomial in standard form. So example number 1, let's say we have f of x equals 6 plus x squared plus 7x plus 5x cubed. So, kita na agad natin na yung mga terms natin are not arranged in decreasing powers. So, what are we going to do is to rewrite this function into standard form. And our standard form for number 1 is f of x equals, so mula sa may pinakamataas na exponent, we have 5x cubed. Next one, so since ang first term natin or yung may pinakamataas na exponent is 5x cubed, which is our cubic term, the next one will be our quadratic term, which is x squared. And next will be our linear term, which is 7x. And our constant term, which is 6. So the standard form for number 1 is f of x equals 5x cubed plus x squared plus 7x plus 6. Another one we have f of x equals negative 3x raised to 5 minus 3 plus x squared. So let us find its standard form. Again, f of x equals, mula sa may pinakamataas na exponent, 2, 0, and 5. So we have negative 3x raised to 5. Then next, we have our quadratic term, x squared. Then our constant term, minus 3. Let's have our last example. F of x equals negative 4 plus 2x plus x cubed. And our standard form for this one is f of x equals, okay, the term with the highest exponent, we have x cubed, our cubic term. And next one will be our linear term, which is 2x. And our constant term, which is minus 4. So let us now discuss the different kinds of polynomials according to the number of terms. Later on, we will define each of those kinds of polynomial, and after that, we will give some examples of each. So, the different kinds of polynomials according to the number of terms are monomial, binomial, trinomial, and multinomial. So, let us first define what is monomial. So, from the name itself, monomial, mono means one. So it means that monomial has only one term. So some examples of monomial are, we have 5x cubed, negative 7x, and we also have 8. So these are some examples of monomial term. Another one, we have binomial. So from the name itself, binomial, bi means two, and therefore binomial is expression consisting of two terms. And some examples of binomials are, number 1, 5x cubed minus 2. Our first term is 5x cubed and our second term is 2. Another one, we have negative 7x plus 3 plus 5. So, kung titingnan natin itong second example natin, pwede natin siya sabihin na hindi binomial because it has 3 terms as compared to the first example which has 2 terms. But, kung titingnan natin mabuti, we have 2 constant terms which are 3 and 5. And what are we going to do first is to simplify those similar terms. So that is why we will have negative 7x and 3 plus 5 is just 8. So that is why binomial na itong ating expression, and negative 7x is our first term and 8 is our second term. So another kind of polynomial is the what we call trinomial. So from the name itself, trinomial, tri means 3. So therefore, it has 3 terms. And some examples of trinomial are, number 1 is 5x cubed minus 7x plus 2. So 5x cubed is our first term. Second term is negative 7x, and third term is 2. So another example is this one. So 5x squared minus 7x plus 5 plus 2x squared. So katulad nung case kanina sa binomial, itong second example natin sa trinomial, pwede rin natin siyang sabihin, pwede rin nating agad maisip na ito ay hindi trinomial because it composed of 4 terms. We have 5x squared, we have negative 7x, we have 5, and we have 2x squared. But, kung titingnan ulit natin, meron ulit tayong similar terms. And those are our quadratic terms, which are 5x squared and 2x squared. So, similar terms sila because magkapareha sila ng literal coefficient, which is x squared. That is why, isi-simplify din muna natin ito. And 5x squared plus 2x squared is just 7x squared because 5 plus 2 is 7 and just copy the literal coefficient x squared. Then just copy negative 7x plus 5. So now, ang ating expression na is trinomial because 7x squared is our first term, negative 7x is our second term, is 5 is our third term. And lastly, is the what we call multinomial. So again, from the name itself, multinomial. Multi means many. It is an expression consisting of 4 or more terms. So examples are, so number 1, 5x cubed plus 2x squared minus 7x plus 5. So 5x cubed is our first term, 2x squared is our second term, negative 7x is our third term, and 5 is our fourth term. So it consists of 4 terms. That is why this is considered as multinomial. Another one, we have x raised to 4 minus 2x cubed plus 4x squared minus 3x minus 7. So we have first term, second term, third term, fourth term, and fifth term. So it consists of 5 terms, which means that this is also an example of multinomial. So if we have different kinds of polynomials according to the number of terms, which are monomial, binomial, trinomial, and multinomial, we also have different kinds of polynomials according to degree. Later on, we will define each kind of polynomial according to the number of degree, and we will also give some examples. And the polynomials according to degree are linear function and quadratic function. But let us first define what is linear function. So a linear function is a first degree polynomial function. When we say first degree polynomial function, it is a function wherein it has the highest exponent of 1. Again, a linear function has the highest exponent of 1. And it can be defined as f of x equals mx plus b, wherein mx is our linear term and b is our constant term. So here are some examples of linear function. Number 1 is f of x equals negative 9x plus 7. Another one, we have f of x equals 8x. And last one, y equals 3x minus 1 half. So these examples are linear function because it all has the highest exponent of 1. So negative 9x, it has an invisible exponent of 1. 8x, cx has an invisible exponent of 1. And also 3x, yung variable x natin has an invisible exponent of 1. So after we discuss what is a linear function, let us now proceed with quadratic function. And quadratic function is defined by a second degree polynomial function. So if in linear function, its highest degree or exponent is 1, in quadratic function naman, the highest degree is 2. And it can be defined as this one. F of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So here are some examples of quadratic function. Number 1, f of x equals 7x squared minus 7x plus 5. So in this example, we have the exponents 2, 1, and 0. And its highest exponent is 2. That is why this function is a quadratic 1. Another one, we have 2x times x plus 4 equals y. So why do you think this function is an example is a quadratic 1? So let's check. So para malaman natin kung talagang ito ay quadratic function, kung siya ay hindi pa simplified, kailangan mo natin siyang i-simplify. So itong term natin na ito na nasa labas, i-distribute natin sa dalawang terms sa binomial expression na nasa loob ng parentheses. So 2x times x and 2x times 4. So isa-isayin natin. Kopyahin muna natin si given function. Then, i-distribute natin si 2x dun sa terms na nasa loob ng parentheses. We have 2x times x is just 2x squared. Again, 2x times x is 2x squared. Because 2 times 1 is 2. And x times x, kapag nagmumultiply tayo ng variable, i-add natin ang exponent. We have an invisible exponent 1 and 1. And 1 plus 1 is 2. Then copy the variable x. So, i-multiply naman natin si 2x sa 4. We have 2x times 4 is positive 8x. Then copy equals y. So, ito na ang ating function. Ngayon, we have 2x squared plus 8x equals y. And we can say that this is an example of quadratic function because it has the highest exponent 2. So let us now proceed on getting the degree of a polynomial. The degree of a polynomial, it refers to the highest degree among the degrees of the terms in the polynomial. So, ibig sabihin, kapag hinahanap natin yung degree of a polynomial, ang kailangan lang daw natin hanapin is yung pinakamataas na exponent among sa mga exponent na involved dun sa ating polynomial. So, I have here some examples of polynomial. And what are we going to do after we enumerate each polynomial is to find its degree. So, given the function f of x equals 2x cubed minus x squared plus 5x plus 6, again, what are we going to do is to find the highest degree among the exponent of these terms. And from this function, we have the exponents 3, 2, 1, and 0. And the highest exponent among these terms is 3. That is why our degree is 3. Another one, we have f of x equals negative 7 plus 2x raised to 4 minus 3x plus 5x cubed plus 7. So in this function, we have the exponents 0, 4, 1, 3, and another 0. And the highest exponent among the exponent of these terms is 4. That is why our degree is 4. Another one, we have f of x equals negative 6x raised to 5 plus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8. And our exponents are 5, 2, 1, and 0. And the highest exponent among these terms is 5. That is why our degree is 5. So before I end this video, please don't forget to subscribe in this channel. What you have to do is just to click the red button below and hit the notification bell for you to be updated on my next uploads about math lessons. Thank you and God bless everyone.